the overall cost of capital of the firm falls. On the other hand, the NOI approach was giving a contrasting view by saying that even if you increase the debt percentage in your capital structure, it will the benefit of usage of cheap debt will be offset by the increase in cost of equity. So the overall cost of capital remains the same, and hence we can conclude that capital structure decisions are irrelevant to the valuation of a firm. For both the theories, we have also proven, we have covered them with respective practical questions. Now we come to the third theory, which is the approach. I had given you an introduction to the approach in the last lecture. This theory also says that capital structure decisions are irrelevant, but it is giving you a behavioral approach as to why these decisions become irrelevant and why, in spite of variation in cost of debt and equity, there is a balancing. We reach to a equilibrium situation where levered and unlevered firm both will give you the same value. So the behavioral justification is basically proven by the arbitrage process, which I told you is taking advantage of the price discrepancies in two markets, and that is how this approach explains the capital structure decision irrelevance on value of firm. After that, this was the last point which we covered, which the assumptions of capital, the assumptions of the approach. Okay, so where we were assuming that the capital markets are perfect, no taxes, no transaction cost, information is available to all the investors, same quantum of information is available to every investor in the market, and companies and individuals can borrow at the same rate of interest. Okay, so now we come to the first proposition under the approach. This is what we'll be covering today. You will see the number of propositions under the approach, and we cover the first proposition, which says that value of a company is independent of its capital structure. It implies that value of all equity firm is equal to value of all debt firm or debt plus equity firm. It is the arbitrage opportunity that brings both the values to an equilibrium position. So let us see how this works. We'll use a practical question for the same. So please have a look. For example, there are two firms, L Limited and U Limited. The firms are alike in all respects except that L Limited is a levered firm and has a 10% debentures with a value of rupees 50 lakh. Now, levered means one which has debt component in the capital structure, in its overall capital structure of 100 lakh. On the other hand, U Limited is an unlevered firm and has only equity funds. Both the firms have an EBIT of 15 lakh and equity capitalization rate, which is your cost of equity, 20%. So you will try and prove the hypothesis using this information. Okay, so let's start with the explanation to the approach. You have L Limited. So I'm starting with the simple income statement. So this will be basically your net income or earning available to equity shareholders. So in the step 1, we have just tried to derive the value of the firm by drawing a simple income statement. One of the assumptions of approach is that there are no taxes. So after deducting interest, since there is no corporate tax and there is 100% dividend payout ratio, so the entire earnings after payment of interest are available to the equity shareholders. So using that, you calculate the value of equity, which is NI upon KE. This we have done in the chapter on cost of capital. That cost of equity is income available to equity shareholders, that is NI, net income, divided by the market value of equity. Okay, now you get the value of levered firm as 100 lakh and value of unlevered firm as 75 lakh. To calculate the cost of capital, EBIT by V. So for L Limited, this will be 15 divided by 100 lakh. This comes to 15%. Okay. And for the second firm, again, this will be 15 divided by 75, which comes to 20%, 0.20 or 20%. So what do you see? That the levered firm with a higher value has a lower cost of capital, while the unlevered firm with a higher cost of capital is having a lower value. So under the approach, with the arbitrage process, the shareholders move from overvalued firm to undervalued firm. I repeat myself, the shareholders, they move from overvalued to an undervalued firm so as to earn the same rate of return on their investment with a lower amount. Okay, so how does this work? Let us assume that there is an investor, Mr. A, who's holding 10% in the overvalued firm. In our case, the overvalued firm is L Limited and the undervalued firm is U Limited. Okay, so please pay attention. You can copy it down later. So Mr. A is holding 10% shares, 10% holding in the overvalued firm, which is firm L Limited. Now he wants to take advantage of the arbitrage process and he will sell his shareholding in L Limited and move to U Limited. 10% holding in L Limited means he was holding 5 lakh in equity shareholding. Okay, so he will sell off his shares worth 5 lakh and he will move to U Limited. Okay, now 10% holding means the net income which Mr. A was receiving from L Limited is also 10% of the total net income, which will be rupees 1 lakh, or you can say, since the return on equity is 0.20, 5 lakh into 0.20 will again give you 1 lakh as the return. Okay, so Mr. A will sell these shares, get 5 lakh rupees and move to U Limited. But to invest in U Limited, again a same percentage of holding, that is 10% shares of U Limited. Now you can see are costing 7,50,000. So which means that Mr. A is short of funds. Mr. A के पास 5 लाख रुपीस है, 10% होल्डिंग अगर यू लिमिटेड की चाहिए तो 7,50,000 is required, which means Mr. A is short of funds and now he will be making use of leverage. Okay, leverage means he will be taking a loan and through that loan proceeds he will try to buy 10% shares in U Limited. Okay, now when taking a loan, the loan will be taken up in the same percentage as the debt holding of the overvalued firm. The loan will be taken in the same percentage as was his percentage holding in the overvalued firm. So which means in the overvalued firm, Mr. A was having 5%, was holding 5 lakh shares with 10% holding. So again, when taking a loan, he will take a loan up to 10% of the total debt holding. Now this is an assumption because I told you that person, individual and company can borrow at the same rate of interest. Okay, so what is Mr. A doing here? He is creating a personal leverage. Instead of corporate leverage, now we are moving to personal leverage. Company debt नहीं ले रही, अब individual debt लेगा और same percentage holding में debt लेगा. So which means 10% of the total debt holding of L Limited. So loan taken by Mr. A will be 5 lakh. Okay, so 5 lakh from equity and 5 lakh from the personal leverage that Mr. A has taken. Now he has a total of 10 lakh rupees which can be invested in U Limited. Okay. Now, this personal leverage is also known as homemade leverage because it is the individual investor who's creating this leverage. So, with a 10 lakh holding right now, what will Mr. A do? He will move to U Limited, and there he has two options before him. Okay, so up till now we see that Mr. A has rupees 10 lakh, out of which 5 lakh is from his own funds, and he has taken rupees 5 lakh as loan on which he has to pay 10% rate of interest. Okay, now he needs to buy minimum of 10% holding in U Limited. So two options before him is to invest either 7,50,000 and buy 10% holding in U Limited, or invest the entire 10 lakh rupees that he is having with him. So option one, say Mr. A is investing only 7,50,000, which is 10% equity of U Limited, the lower valued, the undervalued firm. And he has a spare cash of 2,50,000. So now, what will be the net income which Mr. A will earn from U Limited? Mr. A will earn 10% of the net income which was there in U Limited, or say equity is having a return of 0.20. So 0.20 on 7,50,000 will give 1,50,000 as the share of Mr. A in the net income of U Limited. Now, Mr. A has also taken a loan of 5 lakh on which he needs to pay a 10% return. So, which means you reduce it by 50,000, and now the income available is rupees 1 lakh. Okay, so which if I show you here, Mr. A was earning an income of 1 lakh in N Limited. Now Mr. A, by shifting to U Limited, is again earning the same income. But how has he gained from this arbitrage process? He still has 2,50,000 extra with him. Okay, so you are earning the same income by moving from an overvalued firm to an undervalued firm. You are earning the same income, but you are making a lower investment. That is the benefit of arbitrage process. Just have a look here, see all these steps, and if there's a question, please ask. Okay, till here, is there any doubt? Which part, Nakul, do you want me to explain the entire process? यहाँ तक समझ आ गया था? Okay, I'll explain the entire process also. That's not an issue. It takes time to understand. We had started from here, the approach, where we had two firms. One was L Limited, which was a levered firm, U Limited unlevered. Levered firm में debt plus equity है, unlevered में you are having only equity. Okay, अर्निंग बिफोर इंटरेस्ट एंड टैक्सेस दोनों में 15 लाख रुपीस है. You have to show how the approach works under this example. Okay, so first from the EBIT I deduct interest to calculate the net income for both the firms. 10 lakh for L Limited, 15 lakh for U Limited. कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विटी आपको क्वेश्चन में ही 20% दिया हुआ है दोनों फर्म्स के लिए. तो आपने पहले मार्केट वैल्यू ऑफ इक्विटी कैलकुलेट कर ली जो 50 लाख आ रही है अंडर एल लिमिटेड एंड अंडर यू लिमिटेड इट इज 75 लाख. टोटल वैल्यू ऑफ फर्म इज इक्वल टू वैल्यू ऑफ इक्विटी प्लस वैल्यू ऑफ डेट. So accordingly, you get the value of firm. For L Limited, the value is 100 lakh and for U Limited, the value is 75 lakh. Okay. Now using the formula for KO, we get the weighted average cost of capital or overall cost of capital of L Limited as 15% and U Limited as 20%, which makes sense also. हायर वैल्यूड फर्म का जो कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल होता है वो हमेशा कम होता है. इफ योर वैल्यू इज मोर योर कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल विल बी लेस and vice versa. Okay, that is why the overall aim of financing decision is to reduce the cost of capital so that the value of firm can be maximized. Optimum capital structure has the lowest possible cost and which will in turn give the highest possible value to the firm. Okay, first thing, we arrive at a scenario where one firm is overvalued, which is L Limited, which has a higher value, and U Limited, which has a lower value. In a simple arbitrage process, the investor moves from an overvalued firm to an undervalued firm. Okay. Why will the investor move like this? Because he can earn the same return with a lower investment in an undervalued firm. If I talk about the same strategy in the stock market, if I take the same strategy in the stock market, investors they look for undervalued shares. ओके या जब आप प्रॉपर्टी में इन्वेस्ट करते हो तो आप ऐसी प्रॉपर्टी ढूंढते हो जिसकी अभी वैल्यू कम है पर आगे उसकी जो रियलाइज्ड वैल्यू होगी. Say there is a new airport coming up in the area where you are investing, so you know the value of this property will increase, will improve. So that becomes an undervalued investment right now. You make the investment and you will reap a good return in the future. So investors in financial markets also look for such investment opportunities where the asset is currently undervalued but is expected to increase in value in the future. तो आर्बिट्राजर क्या करेगा, वो ओवर वैल्यूड फर्म से अंडर वैल्यूड फर्म में जाएगा, यानी कि एल लिमिटेड से यू लिमिटेड पे जाएगा. As of now, we assume that we are talking about an investor who's having 10% holding in the overvalued firm, which is L Limited. 10% holding means 10% of the total equity share capital, which brings an amount of 5 lakh rupees. अगर 10% इक्विटी में होल्डिंग है तो 10% ही नेट इनकम का मिलेगा इस इन्वेस्टर को, which means he is getting a return of 1 lakh on the total investment made. Okay. After that, now to move to U Limited, if you want to move to a 10% holding in U Limited, you need 7,50,000. But the investor right now is having only rupees 5 lakh, which means he will have to borrow money. To borrow, he will borrow up to an amount which makes up his debt holding to be 10% of the total debt of existing firm. इसका मतलब वो कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर को रेप्लिकेट कर रहा है, जो एल लिमिटेड का कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर था उसको रेप्लिकेट कर रहा है. अगर 10% इक्विटी की होल्डिंग थी तो अब जब वो बोरो कर रहा है तब भी वो 10% ऑफ टोटल डेट होल्डिंग बोरो करेगा. This is making up of personal leverage. You are copying the leverage of the existing company in the same percentage holding. Okay. So now he borrows 5 lakh, that is 10% of the total debt holding of L Limited. Till now, whatever has been covered, just pay attention. I'll take a 2
मैम लोन टेकन 5 लाख वाला एक बार बताना, लास्ट में जो लोन टेकन इसने इतना ही क्यों लिया?
अच्छा बेटा 1 मिनट में मैं आई बी बैक, देयर इज सम वर्क. ओके, देन आई विल कम एंड एक्सप्लेन. जस्ट गिव मी अ 1 minute ब्रेक. ओके. Okay, sorry for the interruption in between. Okay, so I think Sparsh, you were asking कि 5 लाख वाले लोन के बारे में आप पूछ रहे थे ना?
यस मैम.
ठीक है. तो जो इन्वेस्टर है वो क्या कर रहा है, कॉर्पोरेट लीवरेज को कॉपी कर रहा है, रेप्लिकेट कर रहा है पर्सनल लीवरेज बनाने के लिए, ताकि उसका रिस्क लेवल सेम रहे. जब वो लीवर्ड फर्म में था तब भी इक्वल डेट होल्डिंग और इक्विटी होल्डिंग थी. 50 लाख अगर इक्विटी थी होल्डिंग उस फर्म की, तो 50 लाख ही उस फर्म ने डेट होल्डिंग में रखा हुआ था. तो प्रपोर्शन क्या था डेट इक्विटी का? 1:1. So when the investor is moving from one firm to other, he is keeping that capital structure, he is keeping that risk level intact. तो अब जब वो लोन भी लेगा तो वो सेम प्रपोर्शन में लेगा. तो अगर 5 लाख की इक्विटी होल्डिंग है, 5 लाख उसके ओन फंड्स है, तो अब वो लोन Anyone else? I hope this point is clear. Why is he taking a loan of 5 lakh to everyone? You keep your risk level intact and you copy the corporate leverage to create your personal leverage. Okay. Also, the rate of borrowing as assumed is same for a company and the individual. तो दोनों को जो लोन मिला है, दोनों के लिए जो कॉस्ट ऑफ डेट है वो 10% है. Can I move ahead now? Okay, so after that, after taking the loan, Mr. A now has 10 lakh rupees with him. I'll add one more page here. Just a second. Okay, now Mr. A has 10 lakh, 5 lakh own funds के और 5 lakh जो लोन लिया था यू लिमिटेड में 10% इक्विटी होल्डिंग चाहिए, तो 7,50,000 आपने इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, आपके पास 2,50,000 अभी भी कैश रखा हुआ है। 7,50,000 की इन्वेस्टमेंट पे आपको 1,50,000 का रिटर्न मिला। ओके, विच यू कैन सी इज 10% ऑफ 15 लाख। अगर 10% इक्विटी में लगाएंगे यू लिमिटेड के तो आपको जो रिटर्न मिलेगा दैट विल ऑल्सो बी 10% ऑफ द टोटल इनकम विच इज 15 लाख का 10%, यू आर अर्निंग 1,50,000, out of which interest to be paid on the loan taken is 50,000. So now the income available is 1 lakh. This is the same amount which he was earning in L Limited. पर फायदा क्या हुआ, लीवर्ड फॉर्म में 1 लाख ही अर्न कर रहा था, अनलीवर्ड में भी 1 लाख अर्न कर रहे हो, पर अब आपके पास स्पेयर कैश भी है, so you are better off, you are in a better position because now you have an income of 1 lakh and surplus funds of 2,50,000. Okay, so this is the benefit of arbitrage. Option 2. Option 2 with Mr. A is that he will invest the entire 10 lakh rupees in U Limited. तो स्पेयर कैश नहीं रखना, अब जितनी भी अमाउंट हाथ में है उसको इन्वेस्ट कर देंगे। कितना रिटर्न मिलेगा इन्वेस्टमेंट पे, 20% है, तो सीधा आप 10 लाख का 20% ले लो विच विल बी 2 लाख रुपीज। सो रिटर्न on equity investment on equity is coming to 2 lakh rupees. Again there is a loan of 5 lakh on which interest to be paid is 50,000. How much is the income available to Mr. A now? It is rupees 1,50,000. So he is better off as compared to L Limited. Now he is earning 1,50,000. L Limited में Mr. A was earning rupees 1 lakh. Now he is earning 1,50,000. तो चाहे पूरी अमाउंट इन्वेस्ट कर दो, चाहे 10% होल्डिंग ही करो, both the cases by moving from L Limited to U Limited, the investor has come to a better position. Okay, so this is the advantage of arbitrage. Arbitrage is bringing you to a better position by making a lower investment. How long will this process continue? This process continues because if one person is taking advantage, the others in the market will also follow. So this process continues till both the firms come to the same valuation. Okay, and ultimately we conclude that capital structure decisions are irrelevant whether you are having a levered firm or whether you are in an unlevered firm. Ultimately, value of both the firms will come to an equilibrium point. Now ask questions. Is this making sense? Is this clear? Yes or no? Others also, this is important. I know that first time it is a bit complex to understand, but as we practice more questions on this, the concept will become more clear. Okay, thank you. So I hope this is clear. If there are still, yes, there will be none. Yes, Nakul, that is what happens. Continuous movement from L limited to U limited. एल लिमिटेड के सब इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स अगर शेयर सेल करने लग जाएं तो सप्लाई इंक्रीज हो जाएगी मार्केट में और उसकी जो वैल्यू है वो इट विल फॉल. On the other hand, if all the investors in the market start buying shares of U Limited, the demand for shares of U Limited will increase. As a result, the value will increase. जो आप प्राइस में करते हो डिमांड और सप्लाई, डिमांड इंक्रीज होती है तो प्राइस इंक्रीज होता है, सप्लाई इंक्रीज होती है तो प्राइस फॉल होता है. तो एक फर्म की वैल्यू एल की वैल्यू फॉल करेगी, यू की इंक्रीज करेगी. ये तब तक चलेगा जब तक दोनों इक्विलिब्रियम पॉइंट पर नहीं आ जाते. Okay, and once they reach to the equilibrium point, arbitrage process comes to an end as there are no price discrepancies any longer.